is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.
You see this giant castle that's behind me? How could you miss it? It's known as Doune Castle, and in the world of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, some of the movie's most memorable scenes were filmed here, in the castle and on the grounds where we are standing. So for today's Grimm adventure, we're visiting Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
And Star Wars.
Well, as fun as that would be, Star Wars was not filmed here. Aside from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Outlander and Game of Thrones was filmed here. Yes, you do have a Star Wars thing about you. It's the earmuffs.
I can feel the Force, but I cannot feel the wind.
Just watch out for flying cows.
Oh no.
Once in a lifetime, there comes a motion picture which changes the whole history of motion pictures. A picture so stunning in its effect, so vast in its impact, that it profoundly affects the lives of all who see it. One such film is...
Very good, thank you. Yes, thank you. Next, please.
Once in a lifetime, there comes a motion picture which changes the whole history of motion pictures.
Yes, thank you. Next.
Once in a lifetime!
Go away.
What?
Next.
What's wrong with my voice? My voice is all right, my brain is wrong.
有时候，有一部电影可以把整个电影的历史起了改变。
That's more like it.
库鲁萨瓦的《Seven Samurai》就是这样的一部电影，还有《Ivan the Terrible》，其余的都是平常的电影，像《Herbie Rides Again》、《La Notte》和《Monty Python and the Holy Grail》。Monty Python and the Holy Grail 有许多滑稽的。
If you do not open this door, we shall take this castle by force.
We're knights of the round table, we dance where we're able. We do routines to call the scenes.
故事紧张。
One day, lad, all this will be yours.
What, the curtains?
Run away!
还有一些不花许多钱的危险账面。
What makes you think she's a witch? Well, she turned me into a newt.
但是和 The Seven Seal 来比一下，这部电影就非常幼稚。
No.
所以，如果您是一个知识界记的小家伙，您也喜欢傻笑什么事，也不能更糟。 Monty Python and the Holy Grail 看完了，来这里吃便饭。
When we first see Doune Castle, it is right at the beginning of the movie. When you see King Arthur galloping across the fields, well, he's not really galloping, there's no horses, instead they're banging coconuts together. And they walk across fields very similar to this, up to this castle. In fact, it's that wall to the left-hand side. We're gonna go up there and line up some stuff. But I wanna point out that a lot of these trees and these bushes weren't here. I mean, at the time of recording this, it is 2023. This movie came out in what, 1975? But right over here in this field is where he galloped, I'm sorry, clapped coconuts together.
Halt! Who goes there? It is I.
Now to get the shots that we need, we kind of have to walk down this pathway and towards the back of the castle. It's a beautiful walk. You can hear water down off in the distance there. But if we look up to the right-hand side, you can see that wall right there in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. That's what we're looking for. So even though they started filming at the front of the castle, a little bit of movie magic, the scene that they chose, where they had the guy stationed up on top of the castle itself, the walls, was right back here. And for this, we're gonna be a little bit careful. We got everything blocked off, so we really can't get up there. We can kind of go up the hillside a little bit and try to line up the shot. Let's see here. I'll watch my step. All right. Very similar to this.
Who goes there? It is I, Arthur, son of Uther Pendragon from the castle of Camelot, king of the Britons, defeater of the Saxons.
This is the shot we get whenever the guard calls down, "Halt, who goes there?" And then the camera is up towards the front of the building, pointed down this way. And we can't go any further past this fence because they are doing some renovations back here, but at least we can walk up to the fence. Because we get a shot of King Arthur standing right over here, looking up at the wall.
The castle of Camelot, king of the Britons, defeater of the Saxons, sovereign of all England.
Pull the other one.
I am, and this is my trusty
That's a good time to point this out. When they made the movie, there really wasn't that much of a budget, so they filmed a lot at this castle from pretty much all different angles. So every time that you see an interior of a castle, more than likely it's this place. They did some establishing shots at other places, like a place called Castle Stalker, which is privately owned. But once we get inside and start lining up shots, you're gonna go, holy cow, I need to come to this place, especially if you're a fan of Monty Python. Even with all the change in the terrain, you can clearly see that King Arthur and his knights were standing in the field, pretty much right where Jessica is standing, calling out to the French guard up there at the tower, telling them that if they were to give them food and lodging, that the master, the Lord, can join them on the quest to the Holy Grail. And then he says, he's already got one.
Well, I asked him, but I don't think he'll be very keen. He's already got one, you see?
This whole scene of the movie is beyond hilarious. I mean, talk about over the top. And one of my favorite parts is King Arthur and his knights standing down here. The looks on their faces going, what? What did he say? I mean, it's just one of the most comical things in movie history.
I told them we already got one.
Looking up at the castle, the French guard would have been standing right about there, taunting King Arthur and his knights.
You don't frighten us,
Oh, I
English
love it.
pig dogs.
Now, when I say that the French guard was taunting King Arthur and the knights, I mean it was comical as all heckins, which led to lines such as, what, baby ghoul?
I followed your general direction. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
Yeah. It's
Now
perfect.
go away or I shall taunt you for a second time.
And it's from about this shot right here, where we see the cow being launched over the wall. And I want to draw your attention to the trees again, because during the movie they were bare. But how fun is that? And then we get another close-up of this wing of the castle right here, as all the livestock, the chickens, everything comes flying over the wall and King Arthur and his knights retreat. Oh yeah, the Trojan rabbit scene was filmed here as well. In fact, you can see the Frenchman up there on the wall and he's looking out over top of the field that we're standing in right now, the field that we've been standing in the entire time, because he hears the sound of somebody building something, but he can't see anything. And then the Trojan rabbit appears. from about this shot right here. The Trojan rabbit would have been pushed in from the right-hand side of your screen and stopped right about there. Of course, they forget to get inside. Now, if you pay very close attention to this scene, look in the very bottom right-hand corner. You're going to see some stones that kind of look like a wall. Well, back whenever they made this movie, the camera was actually further back this way. When we filmed that scene, it was a little bit further up there. Of course, this pathway wasn't here, but the stone wall that you see is this little hole right here into the hillside. Now, I was wondering where Jessica was when I was filming this, because she likes to scoot off and find little animals and figures and dead bugs and what have you not. And it turns out she was playing inside this hole in the hillside, this little hobbit hole the entire time. The Monty Python hobbit hole. Jessica, I love you so much, baby girl. You guys want to go inside the castle? I think it's time. Yes, that castle right there. Before we go inside the castle, I also want to point out the door. This is the same entrance to the castle that the French guards were pointing their heads out. They're sticking their heads out because they got the present. Now, of course, the wooden door is different, but pay close attention to the masonry work, the stonework. Even the hallway going into the castle was used. In the movie, John Cleese's character, I think it's Sir Lancelot, comes running up here and it's a wedding. And this is the little courtyard. And he's running through here and he just pretty much mows everybody down with a sword. Could line up some stuff, but for the most part, they are doing this renovation, restoration kind of thing, so we really can't see much. But the well's here. You can see that well pretty much the entire time that the scene happens. In fact, most of the filming took place over here where they have all the scaffolding. Now, if we wanted to, we can run through the castle just like Lancelot did and document everything. And you're going to see some things in here that look very, very familiar. But what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the castle the way that the tour directs us. And we're going to point out some key, memorable spots. And the first one is right here in this first room. Look at this place. Does it look familiar yet? This is the first room that we see in Castle Anthrax whenever Sir Galahad follows a Holy Grail lighted beacon to the castle, and he opens the door, he falls to the ground pretty much right where I'm standing. I'm going to show you guys in just a moment. And the nun-like woman, the protector of the Holy Grail, well, really, she says that all the girls here are 16 to 19. It's a strange little scene.
In the name of King Arthur, open the door!
Welcome, gentle Sir Knight. Welcome to the Castle Anthrax. It's not a very good name, is it? Oh, but we are nice, and we will attend to your every...
I think this is as close as we're going to get to the entrance to Castle Anthrax that we see. Pretty much right where Jessica's standing. Actually, if you move forward a little bit closer, baby girl, to right about there is where the lady in white was standing. I can't believe we're getting this shot. This is really cool. Such a very unique building. in this scene, it looks like they are walking towards this room that's right behind Jessica. This is actually the kitchen. And these little archway windows is where they would pass the food through. But in all actuality, what they were doing was, even though they were walking that way, the very next scene, they're actually in this room over here. Now there's a tour happening, so we're working around the tour, trying to do our best. Now this room was used quite a bit, and I have a feeling you're going to lose your mind when we talk about the song that was here. Well, this is the reason why King Arthur and the knights didn't go to the castle. They would have walked right along this wall right to the end, and in doing so, you find out that this is nighttime because there's a window in this scene, and it looks just like this. Closer look at it, it looks like it's wood, but it's really concrete. And in this scene, you see this little doorway that they go through. She hangs the torch up and then they walk through it. It's not a doorway, it's not a staircase either. It's a dead end. And this is where we get the scene where she's telling them, like, who's going to protect us? We live such a lonely life, bathing, dressing, undressing, making exciting underwear. Such a bizarre scene.
Oh, it is a lonely life. Bathing, dressing, undressing, making exciting underwear. We are just not...
Now before we move on to the rest of the castle, there's one more scene here that was kind of comical, and it's the Knights of the Round Table song, where Arthur and his knights head to Camelot. Camelot. Camelot.
Really, it's just a model.
Shh. Camelot. Now this is kind of fun, because where the knights were singing in this room, the Great Hall, you can clearly see where they were. Now, right over here, they have a big thing. I didn't see the show, but I'm guessing Outlander was pretty big. They have a big behind the scenes for it. But what we came here for, believe it or not, and I'm surprised they have this, is this chair. Well, it's like a bench. You can see this in the movie because it was to the right of this window area where some of the knights of the Round Table were standing on and singing. So it's almost reversed. Where it is now, picture it on the left-hand side. And that's the shot. They pretty much utilized this entire Great Hall for the movie. They had knights dancing in the windows and the doorways. They had them dancing on tables. There was a chandelier hanging from the ceiling. There was livestock. And way down here, you see this giant wall? They had knights cabaret dancing on top of a table. We know this because if you look right about there, where the wood meets the stone, this is the side. Crazy, right? You can even see that door to the left in one of the shots. Now that we left the Great Hall, let's continue Lancelot's story where he goes to save the princess. Well, it turns out it's a prince. And we're looking for the bedroom that they filmed it in, which is kind of funny if you think about it, getting the cameras and the actors and all the other stuff up here on the second floor. Well, is this second or third floor? Hard to tell. Oh man. Yeah, this is the room. Oh, it looks like some signage got knocked over, probably with the wind. This is beautiful. Oh, I think I like this room better than the Great Hall. Oddly enough, there's a lot of behind the scenes footage of them making the movie here at the castle. And they had a special, I think, at one point on BBC. Now, the window that we're looking for is this one right here. Now, Jessica, where are you at? There you are. She's over there by that entranceway. You can actually look out onto like where the French guard was standing, what we were pointing out earlier. We're going to point all that out, but for now, we're talking about this window. For the most part, every shot in this scene where the prince is sitting next to the window, it's a tight shot. But if you look very closely, it happens very quickly. There's a shot where you see the most of the room, and it was taken from right about here. Now, of course, I'm going to show you this scene. Let me get a little closer. In here, you can see this doorway on the right. You can see that wall that has a torch on it. You see that window, and then that part of the fireplace there.
Now, you're not allowed to enter.
Oh, fair one. Behold your humble servant, Sir Lancelot of Camelot. I've come to take you... Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
You got my note!
Well, I got a note.
Amazing, right?
Rescue me!
Well, no, you...
I can, just standing here, walking up to the window, I can just picture the prince shooting the arrow outside and trying to hide it from the guards who are watching him. You know what? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it's a time period movie, like a period piece, medieval. You never really think that you can ever visit the filming locations to it. Yet, here we are. And you can actually come here and tour it. But speaking of views, Jessica loves the views up here on this floor. Let me show you what I mean. Every window from this castle shows you a different part of the land. And with the sun coming out, it's pretty magical. Now this one right here, this is the courtyard that we started this video off in. Well, once we got inside the castle, this is the courtyard where Lancelot pretty much butchered the entire wedding party. Now there's one view that is cooler than the rest, if you can believe it. Looking out the window, this is where the French guard was standing when he was taunting King Arthur and his knights. Now, you can't get out there. I wish we could, but for safety reasons, it is blocked off. You can walk the little hallway here that turns and looks out across it. You kind of have to peek through the wood. Let's see here. I don't know how well I'm going to get this shot. But there it is. Neat, right? If they can somehow make this safe so fans can go out there, trust me, there'd be tons of people out there recreating that scene with their friends. You know, King Arthur and his knights, your best friend standing down there in the field, you're up here. If I had a cow, I'd throw it at a friend. Why not, right? With that being said, thank you for joining us on another Grimm adventure, this time to Doune Castle, where they filmed Monty Python and the Holy Grail. If it was up to me, we would visit every single location. Some of them are really hard to get to, and I promise you at some point in the future, we will get them all. But for this one, some of the most memorable scenes. Until next time, happy Halloween.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. A bad luck's always